So I won't lie, using FFmpeg is actually pretty simple. Installing it is also pretty simple. Their own website down here, ffmpeg.org, and they have download a version for Windows builds. You can just click either one of these two. You could get exe files. I recommend getting the FFmpeg get full 7z just so I can get every single thing possible for FFmpeg and not have to worry about any containers or anything being left out when we have to do any conversions. So I'm just gonna put this here. And from here, basically what we wanna do, inside of this archive, there's going to be another FFmpeg folder, and these files right here, we're going to have to copy these into a new folder on our C drive. So I'm going to open up a new window, go to our C drive, and then for me, I already have a folder that's named FFmpeg, but if you don't, you're just going to have to create one, and you're going to have to drag and drop each of these files into the FFmpeg folder. The next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tell Windows where FFmpeg is actually located before we can use it with command prompt. And the way we do this is by editing the environment variables on our system. Now, the way we usually get to this is through our system properties, but Windows has made it kind of convoluted and crazy to get to for some reason. So I like to just search it up instead of going through all the menus. So I just like to search up system properties. For me, since I'm using Classic Shell, it's going to show System Properties Advanced. It's going to be a window that looks like this. But if you're just using the regular Windows 10 search, you can just search up environment variables or environment and it should pop up just like this and you'll get the same window. Then you're going to have to click environment variables down here. So once you get the environment variables window open, you're going to have to go down to system variables down here and you're going to scroll down until you see path, and you should see C, Python, scripts, some things that are in the C drive. So we click on this and then we hit edit and we should get a bunch of entries right here, and we're going to essentially copy the path of FFmpeg from the bin folder. I just like to go up here in the address bar and then hit copy, go back over to this window where it says new, and paste this in. So it should be C FFmpeg/bin, and then we can hit OK, hit OK, hit OK. And now we should be able to use FFmpeg in our command prompt. That is the basis of the install. From this point forward, we should be able to use FFmpeg in the command prompt and be able to call its commands in order to do conversions on our files. The way that I like to do this though is through using batch scripts or .bat files. .batch files are usually just little scripts that can run certain tasks on Windows computers. As you can see, there is quite a lot of syntax for, doing specific conversions for specific files. I've actually just gathered a lot of this from the documentation that is available on the FFmpeg website. There's a section here for converting video files. There's a section here for converting audio files here as well. And there's even a section here at the bottom for changing date and times and files with a PowerShell, which is easier than it sounds. It looks pretty intimidating just for all of the syntax, but the basic format for each batch file is this line of command right here. I have a small Minecraft recording right here of just me kind of running around on this little survival world and doing some random stuff. It's for almost 5 minutes long and it's 800 megabytes or so, but I want to get that size, down considerably. What I want to do is right click in where this recording is, go to new, make a new text document, and it doesn't really have to be named anything, but we are going to change the extension to .bat or .bat, and it's going to give you this little warning right here. Just click yes. And if you don't see the extension at the end of this, at the end of your files, you can just go to Windows and then search up folder options, and it should give you something like change search options for files and folders. It should give you a window that looks something like this. You can go over to view, you scroll down until you see hide extensions for known file types. You want to make sure that this is unchecked. Hit apply and then hit OK. Then we will be able to go back to our batch file. We can right click on it and then we hit edit. Make sure we don't double click it because then it's just going to run and do nothing essentially. Here we go. This is basically what it looks like for me every time I am about to start converting something. I'm just going to copy this because like I said, this is the base command for what we're going to be converting with. And since we want to keep this as an MP4 recording, I'm going to put this as MP4 and change the output to MP4 as well. FFmpeg likes it when it's all just very simple and it's one word because it does get confused when you try to run it through the batch script. That's why I like to, rename anything that I'm putting through the converter input dot whatever before I, actually start converting it, just so it doesn't get confused, and I'll just rename it later. And if you, don't want to get totally lost with your file names and stuff like that, you could have a new text document, on the side that has all of the information in it, because you're going to be generating a new file out of this. So I could just copy the file name of this, and that'll be .mp4. We can go into the properties here as well, take note of the date created and the date modified, and of course the date accessed if we really want to get really specific with it. For the sake of not confusing ourselves, I'm just going to name this file names, and then I'm going to name our conversion file to like bingus.bat. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, just as long as we can, go through and edit it with Notepad or a text editor, that's totally fine. For our recording, we're gonna name this, change that back to input.mp4, and now it's time to essentially put our options in here. We can remove the brackets, and now anything in between this space we can do. So the main thing that we're gonna do to reduce file size here is reduce the bit rate on these recordings, because if I open up input.mp4 here, you're gonna see if I go to video track, it's around 25,000 kilobits a second. So that's pretty good. But if we want to say reduce this to 6,000 or something like that, right? So video down here in my useful syntax, I have all of these things listed out. So we have -VF scale. This is how you change the actual frame size, the video size. -B:\V, this is the video bitrate, and then /C:\V is the video codec, if we're trying to export something in a specific codec instead of just MP4. And then /R is to change the video's frame rate as well, if that's an issue. So if you recorded in like 120 FPS or something, and you no longer want it in 120 FPS, you just want it in 60, then you can do that. In our case, since we're just going to be changing the video bitrate, this is the syntax for it right here. So I can just copy this over to our batch script. We can put this right here, and this is in K. K is for kilobits a second, so 10,000 kilobits a second, 15,000 kilobits a second. Our recording was in 25,000 kilobits a second, so since we wanted 6,000, we're just going to put in 6,000, just like that. Very, very simple. And one thing we want to ensure in our recording is that all of our audio tracks stay as well. So I have this command here, -map0, and it copies all tracks from input, which includes video and audio tracks. And if you wanted to separate the two, so if you only wanted a video track for a recording, you could just select -map0v, and then I don't think you'll get any audio with it, or you could do -map0a, and then it'll select all of the audio tracks and none of the video tracks. But yeah, we have our -map command copied over here, and we can just go ahead and put this right after the bitrate command, make sure to space it correctly and everything. We really don't have to do too much to this recording in order to get it to where we want it to be. This was really what our command is going to look like before, starting our conversion. So we can just Control S and save this. We don't even have to close it really, in case we need to do some quick modifications. Basically, what we need to do now is drag our input.mp4 over to our batch file, over to bingus.bat over here, and let it do its thing. And you should get a command prompt window that looks like this if it's successful. If you formatted everything right, it should not disappear on you immediately. If it disappears on you immediately and you barely even get to read what was wrong, then you probably formatted your command incorrectly. But as you can see, everything's going here. You can see the multiple audio tracks are in AAC. We have another video H.264 track up here, and you can see it's in 60 FPS. You can see the bitrate down here is at 6,000, and you can see what speed it's going at, and you can see our output.mp4 file is generating right here. So we're gonna let it do its thing. It's only about a 5-minute recording, but it does tell you how far it is into the video file during the conversion, which is actually pretty convenient. Yeah, and then it freezes a little bit. So, but if it does freeze like that, you can just hit space to make it live update itself. Okay, we should be almost done with this recording here. All right, there we go. So now we have output.mp4, and here it is. It's the same recording, and it's in 1080p. And if we go to video track, we now see that it's in just about 6,000 kilobits a second of quality. And it is, yeah, that looks like 6,000. I won't lie to you. It looks just as bit compressed as it should be. The size difference on these two files, by the way, the output that we just had is 207 megabytes, while the original recording, if you remember, was 878 megabytes. So we reduced it by about 600 megabytes. That's pretty good. And, you know, if we check our audio tracks and everything, obviously the game audio is here. And we have all of our audio tracks present as well. Since I record with so many, you know, you can't possibly miss them if one's missing. That is the process of converting recordings through FFmpeg. It's actually very simple. There's a lot of people available like online to help with formatting the commands and stuff like that. So if you get stumped or whatever, just keep trying. And you know, the syntax and stuff that I have here will be available. I'll give you like a paste bin for it. Yeah, it's a very useful tool, and I'm very glad that I figured it out, because oh my gosh, it makes archiving everything and saving storage on my computer so much easier. My storage is still kind of crying, I won't lie to you. But so if we wanted to then take this file and change the date modified and date accessed and date created and stuff on it so it's accurate to the original recording, so we want to go back an hour in time and make sure that the dates are accurate, we can do so. So since we have our file names and stuff like that here, firstly, we could rename this if we wanted to, back to what the original recording was. Then we're going to find Windows PowerShell. So I'm just going to search up PowerShell on my computer. PowerShell exe, I'm going to run it as administrator. We should get some goofy madness shenanigans like this. We have a section at the bottom here for getting a specific item. So if I want to change date created time first, right? I'm actually just going to copy these 3 commands over here since we're just going to change all 3. Let's go nuts with it, right? So since we need to get the file path with the included quotation marks, what we're going to do is go to the recording that we output, go to properties, go to security, and you should see object name here at the top. We can just select all of this and you should see where it says our .mp4 at the end, and we can right click and copy this from here. We can just enter down a couple lines and this is our file path right here. So we're just going to replace this with our file path, and I'm going to do this for all 3 of these. It should look something like this. Our date created is December 3rd, 2025 at 10:54. So that's going to be here. 03 December 2025 10:54 at 00. And I'm just going to copy this so I don't have to do so much work. I'm going to make it the same time for this is our date modified, and it's going to be 10:58 48 seconds. For the last one, we're going to do date accessed December 3rd, 2025 at 11:07 and 46 seconds in. So we should get something like this. So I'm just going to copy these commands one by one now. Go to PowerShell, paste it in. What just happened? I don't think I've ever seen my PowerShell window freak out like that ever. All right, and then I'm just gonna copy the second one, paste it in here, hit enter, do the same thing. I don't know why my PowerShell window is freaking out like that. And then paste the third one in and do the same thing. Now, when we go into the properties of the recording we just output, everything should be changed accordingly. And it should, if we go into our original input.mp4, this is our original recording, remember that? These are now identical because we copied everything. Pretty simple. Actually not too hard, especially if you have all the syntax right here. It makes it so much easier. And of course the FFmpeg website has like a whole lot of documentation, and there's a lot of people online that'll help you with it, and it's pretty useful. You can play with this to your heart's content, and you can even do some like really epic bullshit with this with FFmpeg. You can make some really stupid stuff. For example, if I go to Conversion Center, this was a little something we had, right? Just Toad singing you know. Yeah, so we decided it would be a funny, hilarious idea using a command structure just like this to get this. Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, that's something you can do with FFmpeg, and you can get really silly with it. I hope that was at least a little bit helpful.